Every one of us probably knows the Ten Commandments. But do we? The Roman Catholic Church numbers and names those commandments differently than the Protestant Church or other churches. So which position does the Bible support? The first commandment is, "You shall have no other gods before me." And it's considered the first commandment in Protestant Church, but in Catholic Church it's only half of the commandment. The verses after that say, "You shall not make for yourself an idol or any likeness of what is in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the water under the earth. You shall not worship them or serve them. For I, Yahweh your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and the fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving kindness to thousands, to those who love me and keep my commandments." The Protestant Church teaches that these are two separate commandments. The first one, that you shall not have other gods before Yahweh, and the second one is that you shall not make any image of them, as it properly should be. But the Catholic Church merged these two commandments into one, what creates big problem. So the Roman Catholic Church says that it's all packed in one first commandment, but in reality it's absolutely not considered as commandment whatsoever. Just look at all the church buildings and see there are many statues and paintings which they worship. So it's a lie that it's considered even a commandment. I myself was raised a Catholic, and I've never been told that creating images is forbidden. I've never been told that I shall not create any graven image or any painting, and I shall not worship them or serve them. I was not told that. So how can you say it's a first commandment if you've never said that to anyone? They name it, "You shall have no other gods before me." They completely leave that part out. They leave it out and they don't tell anybody about it. And because of that, it exposed me to idolatry. I started worshipping and venerating those images because I didn't know that it's a sin, that it's forbidden. And it's actually the second commandment. The next few commandments are completely fine, are basically the same. Another difference is on the sixth commandment, or if you're Catholic, on the fifth commandment, "You shall not murder." Exodus is very explicit, "You shall not murder." But the Catholic version contains, "You shall not kill." The difference is very small, it's subtle, but it's actually important if we dig deeper. Not all killing is a sin. For example, if you kill someone in self-defense or if defense of others, it's not a sin. It's not a murder. And it's not violation of the sixth commandment. Murder is a sin. The unjustified killing is a sin. Murder is by definition the unlawful and intentional killing of one human being by another, usually carried out with malice or premeditation. So in short, it's unjustified and unjust killing. So the difference in naming those commandments is important to point out. And the Catholic version is less precise than what the Bible actually teaches. And that can lead to some unnecessary problems when it comes to, for example, morality and government law, like death penalty or something. Because if you say that all killing is forbidden, then the death penalty shall not be applied, and also the Lord would violate this commandment. The Bible explicitly says that he killed all those people, like Amalekites and others. So if this commandment actually were, "You shall not kill," then the Lord would be a sinner, what is a blasphemy, and it's unthinkable. But it's going really far in the interpretation of that, but it was important to point out in this video because of the topic. Another deviation is in the last commandment, or in Catholic counting, in the last two commandments. "You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male slave, or his female slave, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor." In Romanism, it's split into two different commandments. Namely, "You shall not covet your neighbor's wife," and the 10th says, "You shall not covet your neighbor's goods." In opposition to biblical Protestant perspective, which says that it's all in the 10th commandment, which says that you shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. Which one of it is more precise, and which one of it aligns with what the Bible says? Why is the Protestant counting accurate? Look again at 17th verse. "You shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife," and so on and so on. In Deuteronomy chapter 5, where the 10th commandments are repeated, it says, "You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, and you shall not desire your neighbor's house." So as we can see in these two parallel passages, one says house first and then wife, and the other says wife first and the house second. So we see that the same author doesn't put much emphasis on what is the supposedly 9th and 10th commandment, what you shall not covet first and what you shall not covet second. Moses seems to count it as one category and as one commandment, which says that you shall not covet. The author doesn't seem to put emphasis on the order in which he puts wife and house. He's freely swapping coveting your neighbor's wife and coveting his house, which would indicate that it all belongs to one commandment, thou shalt not covet. If the Catholic numbering and naming were correct, Exodus chapter 20 would make a mistake. It would spell the last two commandments in some parts in reverse. And God doesn't make mistakes. We don't believe that the Bible has any mistakes. So we should abandon Catholic counting, Catholic 10 commandments, and we should turn our eyes to what the Bible actually teaches. Paul in Romans chapter 13 verse 9 says, "For this you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet. And if there is any other commandment, it is summed up to this word, you shall love your neighbor as yourself." He also treats "you shall not covet" as a one commandment, not two separate ones. Of course, Romans chapter 13 isn't a go-to place when you want to prove which side is correct, but it could be used as a supporting passage to the Protestant counting and to the accuracy of the Protestant counting with the Bible. So the discussion is essentially on whether you combine or split the first commandments and the last commandments. And I think, and as I've already proven in this video, the first two commandments should be separate as it is in Protestant counting, and the last two commandments, two Catholic commandments, should be one, as you shall not covet. Tell me in the comments which counting do you find true. God bless and go in peace.